This is the center of the universe. And I know that because gravity is so dense here. And when space expanded, gravity became less dense. And gravity makes time. Time is gravity. So when things are so dense here, with time, that's why things move slowly. That's why your thoughts don't become material immediately, because of gravity. When space expanded, gravity becomes less dense as it moves out, which means that life that was on other planets or in the universe accelerated at a faster pace than here, because time is different. So aliens, Lyrans, Pleiadians, everything that we have thought up here has already happened. That's why they say nothing is original, because we're just getting it from the quantum field. It's information that's already happened. And it's all, if you can think of it this way, happening linearly and right now. Exactly. So when they make pyramid discoveries, when they do any type of discovery, it's actually happening simultaneously. So, for example, we are seeing a new discovery. Well, in that time period, that discovery was just made. Not the discovery, but the actual thing itself. For example, the pyramids. If we just discovered a pyramid right now, it's because that pyramid was just completed in its time. And that's why people say that there's Pleiadians and Lyrans and all this stuff, because those things existed. And they went through their evolvement, just like we're going through our evolvement here. And they already went through their evolvement, and now they're coming back. So that's the recursive part. If you look at a spiral in a 2D sense, it's a wave. And everything in a 3D sense is a spiral if you look at it that way. So everything we imagine, we're pulling from the quantum field over things that have happened, are happening simultaneously. And because humans think in binary terms, it's hard to wrap your mind around all of this. But if you think that there are many truths and things that are happening at once, it helps with opening your mind to knowing how it works. And it's really fun and interesting because people are like, oh, there's Lyrans and there's Pleiadians and all these aliens and different stuff, and they're absolutely right. And we think of those as being in the future, out of space, but they're not. Everything is stacked on top of each other. So you want to think of it as a vibration is one level, and then frequency above that, and then dimensions. And all these Pleiadians or Lyrans or these cultures or civilizations, once they evolve past the point, they evolve through vibration, and then they evolve to a different frequency, and then they evolve to a different dimension. But it's all sitting right here on top of each other. That's why people can do DMT and look through a laser light and see a completely different dimension, because everything is separated by frequency and vibration. And we think of light as something just binary. The sun gives us light. That's not the only thing it does. Light is energy, and energy holds information. That's how we transfer this video to your cell phone from mine. That's how we create a lot of things. And there are so many things in science that come from electricity that you can't see. So when you start thinking of aliens or out in space, you need to think of it as this whole universe is happening right on top of each other. And we, way back in the beginning, were seeded by aliens or Sumerians or whatever that have already been planted, that planted it here. And then they can come back and they can seed, or they can change the earth, or they can do anything. And it's not just one truth. Because it is quantum simulation and quantum physics, you have this story arc, which I'm talking about, meaning everything we can see: gravity, the sun, the moon, the stars, science, the Sumerians, the Anunnaki, or whatever. That's a story arc. Then there's, a story arc within a story arc. So, for example, we have different cultures. That's a story arc within a story arc. That's a pattern within a pattern. So this is stuff that I know and stuff that I can see and map and things that I got from my near-death experience. But when I talk about stuff, I don't usually use this information because while it's really exciting, it's hard for people to grasp. And what does it serve? Like, what difference does it serve in my life? Because right now we are dealing with this 3D life, and people still need to eat and they still need to make money because that's the story arc, right? You don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. You want to change your reality. And I know that it's a quantum simulation. I've done a lot of testing and playing with reality, and it is. I mean, it is. And whether that's just my brain processing it that way, the material manifestation of what I've done is still there. So I like to share that information because in this story arc that we have now, we need that in order to create the change in this story. And people want to move from 3D into 4D into 5D, and that's the natural evolution that takes place. If you look at history and where humans started, we have evolved to this point. And where else can we go? You think I mean, you can see where civilizations have fallen over and over and over again because the rich have gotten too rich and the poor have gotten too poor. And then civilization falls. But this time, every time a civilization has fallen, I should say, it goes up a ladder. So this time, the civilization isn't going to fall. It's fallen several times before. But this time, it's going to move up into a different dimension because as each civilization falls, they've learned something. When humanity is restarted again, it doesn't start from ground zero. It starts from where you've learned from. And you can see this in any human that lives their life. Whenever you fail, it's not really failing, you're just learning. And then when you start again, you start with what you have and the tools that you've learned from the past. And it's the same way with human history. So we are here in this timeline, in this story arc, to help each other. All of us have different pieces to the puzzle. And the whole point of it is that we come together because we are all one and that we create change. So that's why you're seeing all these people fighting back against the things that you see online that you don't agree with. Because it's all heading to a point where we shift out of the dimension of separation and go into the dimension of expansion and learning new things where we're not fighting with each other. So I know that was a lot, but it's very, very interesting. And I was thinking about it today that we all really like to think about these things. But at the end of the day, what difference does it make in your life? Just because you know about it or because you learn about it, what difference does it make? Like physically, what difference can you make? I always think about things as how can you use this in your life? What is the utility of knowing this? And the utility for me in knowing this is learning how to manipulate reality. And manipulating reality is boiled down to your nervous system. And I've done so much research, studying and testing for the last 5 years. And your nervous system directly affects your perception, your mind, your action, and the way that reality is, created. So that's why I teach that. Because when you can control that, your body holds all the information. And when you calm your body down, you can receive downloads. Things happen instantly. The light starts to shine and everything happens for you. But if you come from a state of dysregulation or you come from trauma, that is when it's really, really difficult for you to do. So that's why I teach it, because that's the way in this story arc to change your reality.